Hello. What a wonderful chance to talk to you. My topic today is digital transformation. And the exciting word about digital transformation is that if we have 20 people in a room, we'll have 20 perspectives on digital transformation. So wouldn't it be cool if we had some kind of formula that would help us to understand what digital transformation is? A formula like this, maybe. So no worries, we're not going to ask you what the formula's name is, and no, we're not going to ask you to calculate it, but I bet that nearly everybody in this session knows what it is, and I bet that maybe we would all get the same result if we would use it. Well, there is a formula understanding digital transformation, maybe at least for the beginning, and helping us to maybe find our own way with digital transformation. No, it's a little bit different. It's called simplicity causes emotion, ideal-wise a positive emotion, and if you can cause a positive emotion, someone will use it, which is called adoption. So this formula is used by a very well-known smartphone producer to see if any feature or tool they want to build will be used. So isn't it strange having the word emotion in your KPIs, for example? I learned from a German sports car manufacturer 2 years ago that they're implementing the KPI emotion to everyone who's working at this company. So everybody will be working towards this sound. Boom. So and if you think about it, owning the car, it's all about emotion. Driving the car, it's all about emotion. So, and even, just having it is all about emotion. So why don't think about putting emotion in the center of everything? But if you ask me, that's not the challenge. The challenge is that if you can cause positive emotions, this causes expectations. So, and this is the most important word if we talk about digital transformation. Expectations. It's the fast change of expectations we all are seeing surrounding us, and everything we are actually seeing and what's happening and what's changing. And I have some examples here, and every one of you will know this. Our expectations have changed radically since things like this. Everybody uses them, or I have a watch with me where I can talk to, and the watch even can be used as a telephone. So my expectations towards things are changing. And nearly all of you have the same change of expectations as some examples I'm showing you now, which means everything has to be mobile. Yeah, and if I want data or information, I want it now, and I want it here, no matter where I am. And of course, it has to be personalized for my use. I don't want to look things up. I want to have a look at it straight away, and this is for me. And, of course, new technologies, I want to use them straight away. And not, since yesterday, sustainability is in everybody's ears. So everything has to be somehow sustainable. So, and these are just a few examples of fast change of expectations, but this changes a lot more. So what is the impact? And if I had a lot more time, we could go about 10 industries, and I just brought you some easy examples to understand what may be happening. Let's look at trade and the change of expectations towards trade. All of you may know this. No, you won't, because you're not that old, but there was some kind of shop in Germany, they called it a Aunt Emma shop, which means if you go there, the lady or the gentleman working there knows everything about you, and if you come in and you want to have some flour, he will just exactly know what kind of flour you want to have, he will give it to you, and you just buy it. But then expectations have changed somehow, and everybody needed some kind of like 20 to 60 different sorts of flour if you want to buy it. So me especially, I'm very overwhelmed getting in such a supermarket, and but that was the change of expectations towards what kind of shopping experience I want to have. So then again, things change, and what we now see is that it's, in a lot of cases, not about the shopping experience, it's about more having a more overwhelming experience. So a lot of people, they don't go shopping for t-shirts anymore because you can get them other ways. You want to have a cool experience when you go into a shop. It has to smell good, there has to be cool music, of course there has to be coffee or snacks, or maybe we can even dance while we shop. But the shopping is part of it. And why? Because nearly everything can be brought home. Not since only we have this virus around, but before that, things have changed. I know the time where having a pizza ready-made delivered home was really cool. Okay, now I'm a little bit older, as maybe a lot of you in this call, but it was a revolution. But today, no matter what you ask me, I bet you can have it delivered home, and even delivered maybe on the same day. So expectations have changed radically, and this is actually a challenge for the trade industry to find their way and meeting these expectations. Now, this may sound a little bit easy. So I brought another industry with me, which we call it as a regulated industry. And this industry has very long thought that they can't be actually disrupted or changed that drastically, as I mentioned, maybe with trade. So you know the time where you always needed a bank where you had to go physically, where you wanted to have physically your money, and where somebody on the opposite side has to sit or stand where you could interact with. Because in case something's wrong or if you have questions, there is somebody, a human being. And then these banks and insurances came up with products, and they were so complicated because there was not only a bank account, there were products that you needed somebody who explained it to you, and you were really happy going there and meeting a person, a real human being who you could trust. And then there were so many people that wanted to. Did they really want to inform you, or are they all selling? So many people selling, bank products and insurances. So it overwhelmed me that, you never know, is it the right product? And then this industry that can't be changed that radically has somehow changed so radically. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I opened an account to trade to trade papers, and it took me 30 minutes, including a physical check of my person that I'm really Glenn González, and I traded my first stock. I traded my first stock in 30 minutes. Try this with a traditional bank. I met someone doing the digital business of a huge German bank, and he told me when he came first to his job, he needed to open a bank account at his new job, because he didn't have one in this bank. So they told, why? You just came into our place and you're asking to open a bank account. Did you make an arrangement up front? Because we don't have time right now. So imagine this is the world some live in, and then imagine the world of, like me, I haven't seen a bank or an insurance from the inside for many years. And I'm not missing anything. And it's just not me changing things. It's the change of expectations of nearly everybody. So let's have a look at an industry where we would maybe say, hey, what do they have to do with digital transformation? And nobody can disrupt an industry that's so heavy with, with electricity wires, and there's so much assets that are huge, Nobody can disrupt this, except that somebody came up with the idea of making a digital product, making electricity to a digital product. So I get my electricity from the North Sea, which is the northern part of Germany, and I'm still wondering how they get the electricity from the North Sea to my house in Walldorf. Have they actually put on their own electricity? Why? No, they haven't. It's a digital product. So, but this was the starting point of a drastic change of this industry, because the next step that happened is that nearly everybody can become a producer of electricity. And of course, nobody actually consumes the electricity from the solar panel somewhere in northern Germany. But why? Because it's digital. That's why we can trade electricity from everywhere. So now things are really radically starting to change, not only to the climate change topic, is that in principle, if you build a house today, you can be independent from the electricity, from the utilities industry. I know some of you will now say, no, Glenn, that's not possible. We're not that far yet. I'm building a house right now, and I'm just trying to be independent, and I know it works. Then it's just one house. So, but if innovation will be now kicking off towards renewable energies, and you will see in not so many years, at least houses can be independent. The next thing will be the companies, and the next thing will be, I don't know. But innovation changes, and here the starting point was the digital transformation of electricity. So, don't we sometimes feel a little bit like this little boy? Don't we want this back? So, for the younger ones, this is an error screen from MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System. This was this was an operating system, maybe the first one, that enabled everybody to get a so-called personal computer on your desk at home. This was the starting point. So, and for the older ones in the call, you all know that was so easy. If this error came up, you just actually, you press the button and resetted the PC, and then somehow magically everything worked again. Okay, this is no joke with PC people, but that was, was great times. But that's gone. Expectations are changing so fast. And to make it really clear, it has nothing to do with the age, nothing to do when you were born, nothing to do if you're a man or a woman or whatever. It has nothing to do with any generation you're in. It's actually the way of life you want to live using the digital transformation or gadgets like my watch or the smartphone I just showed or other devices. So what does this mean actually for the industries? It's a one-way street. I mean, as soon as you have experienced a good emotion and you have changed your expectations toward an offering, you don't want to go back again. You know this, If something's really easy and you got positive emotion, it was simple, you don't want to go back again. It's a one-way street. So, and how could this happen? Now, one of the biggest enablers of this was the internet. So what do I mean with that? Well, basically, in the internet, I call it the internet of information. Everything is in the internet. No matter what you are looking for, you will find it in the internet. If it's wrong or if it's the right answers you find is a different story. We could spend hours on that. But basically, it's in the internet. So imagine you have a burger place. You own a burger place. And in the evening when you drive home, you want to have a burger. So who of you sits in the car and drives to the next train station and looks for the next burger place? Nobody does. We all take out this gadget and we look it up. So but what? If the owner of the burger place is not capable of placing his burger place in the internet, he will not physically be there. He's physically not there. So no new customer will ever find this burger place. And even worse, if the burger place owner takes a few photos and somehow places them in the internet and somebody finds this place and sees the photos, they say, "Whoa, that's ugly. I'm not going to have my lunch or dinner at this place." So how many of you in this call have an internet presence that can be found if somebody's looking for the product or the service you're offering? Not the company you are, really looking for the services or the product. How many of you are found? And if you are found, is your internet presence that delicious that somebody would say, that's where I'm going to go for the next lunch? So everybody's in the internet. All the people are in the internet. Some don't even know they are in the internet. And all enterprises, all companies are in the internet. And so even here, some don't know. Then there's this thing coming up called Internet of Things. So what does it mean? And traditionally, data always starts at a human being. A human being enters the data, he speaks or he does something, but it's the starting point. With the Internet of Things kicking in principle, the shoes I'm wearing, they could order themselves again if they're worn out. Or other devices like my watch I can do things with, but it's a starting point of data. So that's the reason why I, for example, haven't seen a drugstore from the inside for many years, because many of my things, they order themselves. So this is just the starting point of things of radical change. So imagine things are the starting point of information. New businesses are possible. Then there's this thing called, Internet of Technology. So what do I mean with this? Well, let's say 6 or 7 or maybe 10 years ago, if you wanted to do things like big data or machine learning, you would have to go on a big journey, buy a lot of very expensive hardware. You had to put it in the cellar, set it up. Oh no, you had to look for experts. Well, of course, they're easy to find. And I forgot something. First of all, you needed a business case. And then if somebody gave you the money for all of this, then you started, building it up. Today, if you want to do big data, it's 5 to 6 mouse clicks away. If you want to do some machine learning on top of the big data, it's another 4 mouse clicks. So a lot of these new technologies, they're there. They're consumable in the internet. And this changed a lot, which brings me to the topic of, let's say, the Internet of Platforms. And what does this mean? Well, normally and traditionally, we are used to actually trading a person to person or company to company, which means there's always one on the one side and one on the other side. But expectations have changed drastically because now we expect that I'm going onto a marketplace, of course a virtual marketplace, and then everybody who offers this product will be there, and I actually can see who has the best offering for the best price. No, my expectations are actually more like, this platform will tell me which is the best price for the best offer. And this changed a lot. And it's not about only buying and selling, it's also about collaboration. The expectation today is that, take for example my car. I have a car that actually, it told me last week that the brakes are not okay anymore. So the car told me that the brakes are not okay anymore. So I actually just had to contact the car company, and then on a platform, they looked actually into this virtual twin, this digital twin of my car, and they checked the car, and they told me, Mr. González, you can drive another 3,000 kilometers. Don't worry, you can go to Karlsruhe and do your keynote. You don't have to bring the car straight away. So, but they didn't even have to have a look at my car. So the expectations today are, no, don't worry, they can't change the brakes. Not yet. No, they will never do. But nobody came up to look at the car because we collaborated on a platform where the car was a digital twin. So this brings me to maybe the last topic that changed the world, which I call the Internet of Clouds. So this is nothing fluffy, and it's not like pink somewhere in the sky. It's basically just a physical infrastructure of compute and storage and network technology, which you can basically rent and use without having to be able to control it yourself. So remember the guys who went into the cellar to be big data? Remember those guys that did this with technologies like internet technologies or networking technologies, storage and compute? The idea is that someone else does this, who does this every day and is really a big expert and can offer this in a huge range, really elastic, and to a price that you can't bring up. And there's another thing, try to find an expert today who can do this. So the Internet of Clouds has changed so many because now you can't only get infrastructure in the cloud, but also software. So this altogether is one of the biggest enablers for the digital transformation I experienced. So what does this mean for an enterprise? So I tell you, there's the business process in the center of everything. This may be now a big turn, but the thing is, no matter what kind of cool app you build, no matter what kind of platform you come up with, no matter what kind of fancy machine learning thing you come up with, no matter what kind of app you build, if you don't have a stable end-to-end process behind the pressing of the button on the app, there will be no good user experience. The center of every great user experience, the change of expectations, the moment where you get good emotions is if after pressing the button, something really cool happens, and that only happens if an end-to-end process behind this is stable and it works. So even if you don't have an UI, as I mentioned, like a no UI, which means you just go through a gate and things happen. So it will not work. So for me, as I work at SAP, I've told, Alex told you a little bit earlier, for me at SAP, this is the center of everything. And SAP, I can claim, may be the mother of processes, because when we came up with the ERP a few years ago, many years ago, we were the first to enable companies to make end-to-end processes, to get stability into the company and a transparency onto the data. So without this, it'll not work. And with the Internet of Platforms, the only thing that changed all of these end-to-end processes I'm showing you right here as an example, like lead to cash or procure to pay, the only thing that the platforms change is that the ends are going apart. So it's not only one person on one end and one another, it's actually a platform there and a platform there, but still you need a stable end-to-end process in these Internet of Platforms. And even if a lot of software topics walk into the cloud, this is happening now for many, many years. It started like with CRM, then it was HR, and today everything can be consumed via the cloud. Basically, still, you need an end-to-end process stability, no matter where the applications are actually running, in the cloud or on-premise or in a hybrid, which means a mixture. That doesn't matter. So in the center of everything, you need to understand the business process has to be stable and end-to-end. For us as SAP, the stability comes with S/4HANA, our modern ERP system, which actually enables you to bring these end-to-end processes into a modern and robust system and give you the foundation for your company, as we have always done for over 40, 50 years now at SAP. From the beginning as mother of processes, S/4HANA is actually the solution of giving this to you. In addition, you have to see that the business technology platform, which we put on top of S/4HANA as a cloud delivery, enables you to bring in all these new technologies I was talking about. So like things like machine learning or services, database services in the cloud, and even more like Internet of Things, as I mentioned. So, but they have to be connected to the core, which would be S/4HANA, to bring this end-to-end process working. So imagine my shoes would say I need to be ordered and nothing happens, because the ERP connected to this doesn't work. So that's why the business technology platform is the platform to extend and integrate even to third-party solutions to bring this stable process into use. And then, of course, as we can't do the ERP all on our own as SAP and all the solutions for all industries, we have the industry cloud, which is actually the solution for bringing partners in that can develop a lot more applications that can be added or even actually on a sidecar or bring into new industries or new solutions to bring to our customers all they need to be able to give the end-to-end processes in a stable way. A very, very important topic for SAP, as I mentioned, as mother of processes, that this year we are bringing the topic of business process to a totally new level. So we found out that the customers don't like to have a one view on their processes, and they have to upload all the data into a different system, make some analytics, and then from hand change the processes. We think, why can't we do this on a running system? So that's why we bought a company called Signavio for a lot of money, and now we're building up a so-called business process intelligent unit that is in the center of the business process. And why do I put it on a different level? Because the idea behind this is not only to make an analytics outside of the ERP, we want to do it very, very direct, connected into the ECC or S4 system and make an on-the-fly analytics of your business process, which means we can do this actually on the living patient and not offline. And then the idea is definitely to, while the system is running, give you actually tips to say, you should change the process maybe a little bit in that direction because it's not used that way. So very, very interesting area. You should really have a look at business process intelligence, because I haven't met any customer who wasn't wowed by this offering. So which brings me to the experience management, because why does everybody say wow? Because there was one missing part, if you look at bigger companies, is that they always knew what they sell, but they sometimes don't know why. So why are we selling products, or maybe even worse, why we're not selling products, is because the data that actually measures a little bit the emotion I was talking earlier about was not there. So this is the missing part. So with experience management, we enable you to find out, yes, why. And actually in terms of the, like, are your employees happy about it? Is your product well seen? And for example, at SAP, now we are starting to develop the products this way that we can connect direct to the guy or lady who's using the product. And if they have an experience, they can actually feedback this, and it is brought back to the developer to give him a straight feedback on his app. So he knows that this customer has a great experience, has a positive emotion and uses it, adoption, or the user does not have a great expectation, and so the developer will feel this pain himself. So this changes a lot. And it's important to understand that this can only be done if you actually analyze this experience data together with the transactional data and bring these two ends together. Another very, very big topic which is coming up, not only because climate change is now in everybody's word, so I say, it doesn't really matter if you really believe that we have a climate problem. It doesn't really matter. So if you do, okay, I'm happy, but not. You have to report on your sustainability factor from this year on. And next year in Europe, it'll be even more. And on top of that, so many customers tell me that their customers want to know how sustainable are you and your products. But guess what? Most of the companies are not able to say anything to this because they don't have the numbers. They don't have applications. They have nothing to prove this. But some seem to have it, because why do you think a lot of these delivery vans that are driving around here in Germany, for example, have on the back part of the van that they are CO2 neutral from one day to the other? So what do? Have they changed all the vans? No. They can do this digitally calculating at the moment, but this will change. So SAP is coming out with a huge portfolio on solutions, and I just brought 5 or 6 of them with me, and to give you as customers and partners the possibility to handle this, to have the data, and as an owner of the business process, of course, we have a lot of the data, but we're adding more information, and on top of that, we're not only giving you a solution to get transparency, it will also give you a way to change things and make your sustainability factor even better. So have a great look at this, because this is really, really important. The last thing I would like to mention is that, of course, a lot of this that I mentioned today is that we have to give the customers the choice of platform, which means it's not only SAP anymore, it's also the hyperscalers out there, because we found out that many, many customers are putting all their software on top of a hyperscaler and using their infrastructure as a service. You remember the beginning of my presentation talking about the Internet of Clouds? This is it. They bring all the systems, S4, no matter what, warehouse system, they bring it into the cloud, and they don't want to put it anywhere into their own cellar. They want to put it to someone else. And we now enable all our software that you as a customer and partner can choose the infrastructure. And in Europe, for example, it would be Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, or Microsoft Azure. And what's missing here is, of course, in the Chinese area, it would be Alibaba Cloud. But of course, on top of that, you can still choose SAP. So all of this is SAP strategy. And all of this is the enablement to bring you an intelligent company, how we call a company that is prepared for this fast change of expectations I was talking about the last few minutes. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon, and goodbye.